Do you have a strong leadership style that has been mislabeled as harsh or uncaring? Every now and again, as I'm connecting with each of you on LinkedIn, I'll ask if you have any topic suggestions for the podcast. I recently got a response that immediately piqued my interest. The response read, "One thing I struggle with as a leader is gender stereotypes and expectations on how a female leader needs to act. People assume female leaders need to always be nurturing and soft, and when they need to be direct or decisive, people find that harsh. If you have a podcast that addresses this issue and how to overcome it, I would love to listen." Me too. So here it is. But before we dive in, if you are new to the Women Taking the Lead podcast, hello and welcome. I'm Jody Flynn, the CEO and founder of Women Taking the Lead, a leadership development company that helps leaders achieve their gender parity goals at all levels of leadership and in all divisions of the organization. We help to realize these results through consulting, coaching, leadership development programs, and keynotes. My goal is for this podcast to be a valuable resource for you and others in your organization to grow in your leadership. If we are not already connected on LinkedIn, please send me an invitation to connect. You can find me directly at linkedin.com/in/Jody Flynn, or you can search on the platform for Jody Flynn. I'm very active on LinkedIn, so I should be at or near the top of the search results. Be sure to add a note to the invitation letting me know you're a listener of the podcast. I would love to connect with you and get to know you better. Overcoming stereotypes about female leaders requires a combination of personal strategies, organizational support, and societal change. Here are some suggestions to help challenge and change these stereotypes on the individual, team, and organizational level. And the goal is ultimately to have those changes ripple out into society. First, start by modeling and demonstrating a range of leadership styles. You are breaking a mold, so to speak. So if you aren't already, be sure to showcase a variety of leadership qualities. Flex between being nurturing, demonstrating decisiveness, assertiveness, kindness, and confidence, depending on what the situation calls for. Highlight your ability to adapt your leadership style based on the context and the requirements of the situation at hand. Next, communication skills. Develop effective communication skills to convey your ideas clearly and assertively. Use inclusive language that emphasizes collaboration and teamwork. Seek feedback on your communication style and be open to making adjustments. If you get critical feedback, ask for examples. Being labeled as harsh without concrete examples is subjective. Also, and with curiosity, consider if a man would have been labeled as harsh under the same circumstances. If you believe a man would not have been given the same feedback, respectfully ask the person giving you feedback what their feedback for a man would have been. And I'm realizing as I'm saying this out loud, that can sound condescending. So be very conscious of your tone of voice. And that's why I say, come with curiosity, and also, respectfully ask, would their feedback to a man have been the same? Challenging stereotypes and biases have their own bullet, but let's address this example here. So the answer from the person giving you feedback might be a yes. A man would have gotten the same feedback. But if the answer is no, this is your opportunity to kindly make a difference for the other person by helping them see a bias they weren't seeing before. Your approach is key. No one enjoys having their blind spots pointed out to them, so this can be a tricky situation. However, what people enjoy even less is knowing others could see their blind spots and no one took the time to help them to see. In a previous episode titled Constructively Dealing with Unconscious Bias, it describes one way of approaching this type of conversation through an on-air coaching conversation. So it was, examples of how to address unconscious biases came out organically through conversation. But I think going back and listening to that episode and that conversation could be incredibly helpful. My third suggestion: project confidence in your abilities as a leader. Confidence can help counter stereotypes and build trust among your team. If you are not feeling confident, ask yourself what would need to be different in order for you to feel confident. Sometimes the answer is you need to believe in yourself. Start by listing out the times you experienced self-doubt, but it turned out to be unfounded. Right? Be assertive without being aggressive, and ensure that your actions align with your words. Don't just speak confidently, act confidently. Now, I know if you are typically direct and decisive, acting with confidence and feeling self-assurance might not be the challenge that you're faced with, but I do want to cover all different types of stereotypes that can be applied to female leaders. Are you getting value from listening to the Women Taking the Lead podcast? If so, could you do me a huge favor? Could you leave a rating and a review in your favorite podcast app? Ratings and reviews make a podcast easier to discover, and written reviews let a potential listener know whether or not a podcast might be of interest to them. Podcast reviews lend social proof that listening to the episode is worth someone's time. So if you would be open to leaving a review, go into the Women Taking the Lead podcast show page in your favorite podcast app. Every app is different, but if you can't find a setting near the top of the screen, you can just scroll down a bit to find it. For instance, on Spotify, click on the 3 dots to the right of the setting wheel, but on Apple Podcasts, it's about halfway down the show page. Thank you so much. I see all the ratings and reviews, and each one makes a difference. Number 4, seek mentorship and networking. Connect with successful female leaders who have overcome similar stereotypes. Learn from their experiences and seek advice on navigating biases in the workplace. Also, establish a strong professional network to gain support and insights from diverse perspectives. 5th, emphasize results and achievements. Focus on your accomplishments and the positive impact you have on the team or organization. Highlighting tangible results can help shift the focus from stereotypes to your capabilities and contributions. If it feels like bragging, let that go. I know that sounds easier than it is, it's easier to say than to do. But those around you are very busy and not always paying attention to small wins and accomplishments. Find opportunities to share your wins, share your accomplishments, along with those of your team, to remind everyone that you are an accomplished leader. Much like confidence, your record of leadership and achievement builds trust. Okay, here we are. Number 6, educate and challenge biases. Actively challenge gender stereotypes and biases when you encounter them. Again, how you do it is important. Be clear and be helpful. Educate your colleagues and team members about the importance of diverse leadership styles and the negative consequences of perpetuating stereotypes. Actively fostering a culture of inclusivity and diversity within your team or organization will benefit you and those around you. It will also benefit those who will come after you. Number 7, professional development. Invest in ongoing professional development to enhance your leadership skills. Attend workshops, conferences, training programs, or get coaching that focuses on leadership, communication, and emotional intelligence. Showcase your commitment to continuous improvement and growth. 8, and I don't think I said this at the beginning, there's 10 in total. We're on number 8. Lead by example. Model the behavior you want to see in others. Demonstrate that effective leadership is not limited by gender and that success is achievable through a variety of leadership styles. Also demonstrate how you work on your own stereotypes and biases. We all have them, and even if you've done work to address your biases, you can always get better. Which ones do you need to work on? And just because we are women, it doesn't mean that we couldn't be guilty of gender bias as well. And the subject of gender bias is not limited to women. You may have some old biases of men as well. They typically come up around domestic matters, but they come up in the workplace too. 9, address stereotypes systemically. Advocate for systemic change within your organization, such as inclusive policies, unbiased hiring and promotional practices, and diversity training programs. Encourage a culture that values diversity and recognizes the strengths that different perspectives bring to the table. The last one, number 10, build allies. Cultivate allies within your organization who are supportive of diverse leadership styles. Collaborate with colleagues who appreciate and recognize the value of a broad range of leadership qualities. You want to align forces with others who are willing to call out certain behaviors and aren't afraid to address what's going on in the organization. It's so much easier to keep up momentum when you know you're not alone. By taking a proactive and strategic approach, you can challenge and ultimately overcome the stereotypes associated with female leaders. That may feel so far off, but remember that change may take time, but your consistent efforts can contribute to shifting perspectives within your workplace and in society. If we are connected on LinkedIn and you have an idea for an episode topic, I would love to hear it. Send me a message. Or if you have a current leadership challenge and are open to some coaching, apply to be on a coaching episode. These episodes are pre-recorded, so it's just you and me having a conversation. And there's a link in the show description, right in the app you're listening through. And if you're listening on the website, it'll be towards the bottom of the webpage. I hope this was value to you, and here's to your success.